up! Sit! Money! Computer! Shut up! Sit! Money! Computer! Just kidding. You know, in order to get to a moment like that, one has to live some time. Eckhart Tolle would tell me that at that particular moment, you are in the now. And I thank you, Eckhart, for that, because I certainly was in the now. But to get to the now, you got to live a long time, it seems. I was born in Scotland in 1947, May the 11th. Leith, Edinburgh, Scotland. My darling friend Robin was born in England, May 27th, something like 1943. He would have been 68 today, so 44. How does the two of us manage to get ourselves into a situation where we have someone running down the stairs yelling, shut up, sit, money and computers? For Robin and I, it was the French. I bought a Peugeot, a diesel. It wouldn't start. I saw an ad in the phone book for man in the motor trade. Whereupon I called him. No problem, he said. Be right there. Mowbray, is it? It is. And about 20 minutes later he arrived and says, oh, a Peugeot. Oh, I love Peugeots. I trained on Peugeots. It's a lovely car, isn't it? He said, it is when it runs, you know. No problem. Usually it's something simple in these things. Gets in, oh, it's so luscious. Feel the seats. The French know how to build a car. And he popped the hood, came out, lifted it up, put the little post up, went back to his car, came back with a little brush, brushed the battery terminals. Says, all right, give it a try now. Man in the motor trade. $20, please. I paid him $20, and that started a long friendship, primarily around my cars. He would phone me once a year to say, hello, Avi, just got back from Fogarty. You know, you're the best client again this year. Thank you. Somehow that was to make me feel warm. I had a Willys Jeep as well, which he serviced, and so the friendship was basically around cars. As tragedy would have it, Robin's darling wife, Cheryl, died. One of those sudden aneurysm kind of things. And he went through rough time. And at that particular time, I was really busy in real estate. Different than today. And my darling wife, Carrie, had gone off to Mexico with the kids, and I think Carol Fowles and her kids, and they'd had a lovely holiday, and it was coming springtime, and I was just burned out like a madman, and I said to Carrie, you know, I think I'm going to go to Mexico, just do like one of those 1 week or 2 week trips, maybe take Kirsty, my daughter, who was whatever, 12 at the time. And she said, well, you know, your friend Robin Wood really needs a holiday. And I said, my mechanic? And she said, yes, you know, sure. I said, yeah, I know, but what do you think? She said, well, why don't you take Robin and go to Mexico? And I said, okay, sure. So then I phoned Robin. Hello, Avi, something wrong with the Peugeot? I said, no, actually what I'm doing is I'm thinking of going to Mexico, just taking a week or two, and I was thinking, would you like to come? To Mexico? I said, yes, to Mexico. He says, oh, no, I don't think I could go, Avi, not with Wendy and the kids, Heron and Leon, that's Cheryl's grandchildren, and Wendy's her daughter. And I said, oh, that's interesting, because I was thinking of taking my oldest daughter, and why don't we all go together? He says, all right, well, I'll talk to them and I'll see what happens. A week later, he phones me back. He says, no, Wendy, no, Wendy can't do it. I said, okay, well, what about the two of us going? He said, all right, that sounds great. I said, okay, I'll make all the arrangements. And we booked into Mazatlan. And some friends were staying on the beach in Mazatlan, and they said, oh, there's a cottage next door to us. So we got the airfare. Off we go to Vancouver. Travel to Mexico. We arrive in Mazatlan. Everybody gets up to get off the plane, and I says, no, wait. Don't bother getting up now, because by the time the baggage gets out and you're into customs, no rush, just stay here. So we sat chatting away on the plane until somebody said, amigo, es necesario. The cleaning staff were on. And so we off we got walked down onto the tarmac, and as we're approaching the terminal building, a Mexican gentleman goes, and we walk over to him, and he opens the door, and we walk out into the parking lot in Mazatlan. And Robin said, that was pretty quick. And I said, yes, but we haven't gone through customs yet, nor do we have our bags. Oh, now what? I said, well, we'll go back in. So we go back into the entrance, and we get up to the doors, and no, senor, no. This is arrivals, and okay, all right, customs, go around, we go around, walk around to this door, and we see people coming up with their bags. And we have no bags, we have not cleared customs. And Robin says, what are we going to do, Bobby? And I said, okay, well, see where those people are? I said, let's just go over and stand by the entrance there. And keep your back to them. And just take a couple of steps. And successfully, we backed into Mexico. And said, we can't find our bus. He said, yeah, and off we went and got our bags, came back, got all bang. And as luck would have it, the two darling friends who were in a new relationship on the beach in Mazatlan did not come to pick us up. They thought, as they told us afterwards, we figured you'd figure it out, However, I didn't have any money in my pocket, Mexican money, nor did Robin. So back into the departure level, and yes, there's a restaurant upstairs, and we go upstairs and we look at the menu, and then I say to the guy, can we pay for this on credit card? See, no problem. I said, okay, so can we get a meal and a beer? See, and is it possible to get another 200 pesos added on the bill? Okay. I said, no tengo dinero. Sí. Momentito. Off he goes, comes back, see, it's no problem. So we get a cheeseburger and a beer and 200 pesos. We are now rich and in Mazatlan. We take a taxi out to the beach, find the place, it's wonderful, and I, as I always do in Mexico, go to sleep for 3 days. Robin reads, tidies the house. He was a very meticulous chap. The sounds of him sweeping were the sounds of a happy man. And so that was our first trip to Mexico. And I said, you gotta try these bolillos, man. And off we went looking for bolillos, little rolls that they make. And after day 4, we find a bakery that's just made bolillos. I said, that's the thing we're talking about. And we go in, and I buy 12 bolillos, forgetting that they go stale in a day. And make wonderful little rockeries after 2 days. And we buy the dozen, and Robin says, no, wait a sec, Avi. Do we want to take these now? Because we're going to be going over to the mercado. And I said, yeah. And so I said, okay, well, so I go to the counter and I said to the guy, amigo, ¿a qué hora cerrado? ¿Qué? I said, ¿a qué hora cerrado? ¿Qué? Robin says, no, Avi, please, let me. Amigo, ¿a qué hora cerrado? And the guy looks at Robin, and Robin goes, no. And he runs over, slams the door shut, and then runs back and says, amigo, ¿a qué hora cerrado? And the guy looks at us and says, you want to know what time we close? In fact, we did. And that became our catchphrase for when everything was going totally stupid. ¿A qué hora cerrado? We want to know what time we close. So we go to a discotheque one night, one of these Mexican 3-story lights like you can't believe. We're sitting having a beer. 2 women sit down opposite. I said, you want to dance? Well, all right, Avi. I like dancing. Off we go, invite the two women to dance, who are very stationary in their dancing. We're used to Fulford and Beaver Point. So we started doing the Beaver Point boogie dancing around us. At a certain point when we danced by the two women, Robin said, one of them said, have you seen those two guys dance? And we were on the big screen TV. It was a lovely, lovely trip. And I harassed Robin from thereafter to come back to Mexico. He wouldn't do it. Business, whatever. So we fast forward about 10 years. And I talked to him again, and I said, come on, let's go back down. Just take a week or two. Come down. I'm going down to Malacca. You'll have a lovely time. Well, we did. And within an hour of arriving, he fell in love with a darling friend of mine in Mexico, Canadian, Salt Springer. Don't know if I should mention her name. She's a blonde. She's a blonde woman. And as luck would have it, a friend of mine who was also a realtor was on the plane on the way down. We had to fly in. Robin couldn't. He had to fly over the United States of America because of a prior issue. But we all arrived at the same minute at the airport. Our plane and his plane touched down. We met up in customs. I got through customs first. I go up to the arrivals area, and I'm standing there looking, and I see the blonde who's going to be picking up my friend who's traveling with. And I see her, and I walk up behind her, and I give her a Salt Spring greeting. And this woman turns around and says, "You're fast." And it wasn't my friend. But she was friendly. And I said, "Oh my God, I thought you were at nurse." Oh, no, sorry. Mexico's funny like that. You know, like you go in there, and one year they tell you on the plane, "Oh, you're going to be going through immigration if you got the red-green light." And I said, she said, "Don't take it personally. This is the stewardess. It's just random. Every now and again, you push the red button, the red light will come up, and or you push the button, the red light will come up." All right. So I get in there, and I see the people lining up and pushing the button. It's green, and it's green, and it's green, and you just come on in. And I'm standing behind a blonde. Funny how I always end up behind blondes. It's a gift. And younger woman, looking like she's going for a great time, and she pushes the button, and it turns red. And the customs officer looks at her, looks at the light, looks back at her, and then he says, "Try again." And she did, and she pushed green, and in she came. And Orrin Williams' girlfriend, Sarah, she came in with a guitar, and the customs officer said to her, "You know all these? You push green, you play one song. You push red, it's two." She pushed green. He said, "Okay, now a song." So that's how you get through customs. It's a wonderful place, wonderful people, joyful. My buddy Robin falls in love, spends the rest of his holiday with his lover. I leave and go off to Malacca. Next year he returns about 4 or 5 years in a row, till he falls in love with another woman, a Mexican woman. And one relationship ends and the new one starts. And now he's going to Mexico for 4 or 5 months every year in love and having a grand time. And he's English, And the English are different. They're different than the Scots. Like, there's a reason that English is the second language. It's because Scottish is first. And the other thing with the English is they don't listen as well as they speak. And Robin sort of suffered from that. I mean, I don't mean to discriminate, but I was raised by Scots, Scottish women in particular. My father died when I was 11 in Port Credit, Ontario. Came to Canada when I was 9, July the 4th, 1956. Had we gone to the States, July the 4th would be the day of my incoming. But then I probably would have gone to Vietnam because I was a high school dropout. So Flukus Maximus, I became a realtor. Robin came to Canada in the mid-70s. Got a job in Winnipeg, man in the motor trade, get a job anywhere. At his funeral here, his daughter said that all her life her father's passport said writer, but he made his living as a mechanic. He was a bit of a wordsmith, very, very good at it, and liked to write and doodle and learn Spanish, all the things that one would do when one's bright. And he was a bright, bright light in my life, such that if we're in a relationship, you and I, and you're coming to visit me in Mexico, I got a 48-hour clause, right? You're allowed to stay for 2 nights, then it's best if you find your own accommodation. Because I have friends who arrive at day and night and all that sort of time. And so it's just safer for relationships for me to live on my own, which I've done for 23 years. I can barely tolerate living with me. Why would I expect anyone else to? But Robin, he got the week to week. Doug Rhodes had the same thing. Doug Rhodes is a darling friend as well, and a darling friend of Robin's. We appreciate Mexico. So my buddy Robin ends up splitting up with the last one, his wife, and moving to Vallarta. And I said, come on down, come on see me. Come on down, and I talked him into coming down. And he arrived in this Volkswagen thing, which is sort of a convertible Kubelwagen that were made in the Second World War as the German Jeep. And he arrives, and we're having a grand time with it. Everybody knows Robin. He introduces himself to every Mexican as Robin Hood, and they all got his name like that. So, frequent traveler, visited a lot. Loved, got home. But the story starts earlier than that. As I said, I was born in Scotland at a very early age. My first 5 years or so was spent in the Belgian Congo. We would come home to Scotland for a month a year. Father worked in the Belgian Congo. That's where I met Humphrey Bogart. He's never mentioned it in anything I've read about him. But I talk about it quite frequently. We're at the Leopoldville Airport. My mother and my dad and I and my brother Jim. And we're just coming in from the visit to Scotland. We're sitting there and my mother says, Jenny, look over there. She says, where? She says, over there. That's Humphrey Bogart. She says it is. And that's Lauren Bacall. My father said, you're right. It's Humphrey Bogart. Well, she says, go over and introduce yourself. Take the laddies. So my dad took my brother and I over to Humphrey Bogart's table and said, Mr. Bogart, I'm James Chalmers with East Africa Company. These are my 2 laddies. And Humphrey Bogart said, you know, no matter where you go in this world, you always run into a goddamn Scotsman. So we had this wee house in Scotland, 64 Bunnyfield Place, where I was born in the back bedroom. Because in Scotland, you have your first child in the hospital, and if there's no complications, second one is a home birth. When I arrived 2 months premature, I weighed 5 pounds when I was born. 5 pounds, 11 ounces or something. The doctor told my mother, feed this laddie. You've got to feed this laddie. And she succeeded. I weigh 206 pounds now. Went to 2 psychics last year. Both told me that in a past life I was a medium. In this life, extra large. But living in the Belgian Congo teaches you things, you know. Like, we lived way up, like 400 miles up from Stanley Falls, tributary of the Congo, date palm plantation. But where we lived, there was these traveling troops who were going to Leopoldville to dance and do the performances. And so we were the white folk on the way that had the money to pay, spend the night there, carry on. And that's where I learned the following. You see, they don't wear much of a costume. And there's a dance that they do. vasectomy kit and have the diagram. But they line up all the men with loincloths, and the women are on the other side with their garb on, and the men insert a feather down here, so they're all lined up. And as you can learn things when you're a kid that you can't quite learn when you're an adult. But if you do this, the feather dances, and the men. Watch up here. You learn things about muscles when you live in the Belgian Congo. And you see? You can do things with your face. You can do things with your arms. And you can make yourself look like... That's my favorite realtor both. See that big tree there? Is that the corner pin? No, corner pin's right there. That's just a big tree. So, you're sitting on the beach in Mexico just having a grand time. It's warm. My arthritic knees and feet. 3 days after I'm there, riding a bike, taking no more medication. People say, oh, you go to Mexico for a holiday. And I say, no, it's because of my health. So we would sit around and talk and play. Have a grand time. Mexico's like that. Lovely people. My friend Robin and I had a conversation the day of the incident. I woke up in the morning. If this was Mexico, this would be tequila. I don't drink in Canada because it's too expensive. Thank God it's not tequila. Otherwise my face would be on the floor. Coming from Scotland, I come from a long line of alcoholics, which is why I don't drink in Canada. My mother and my two aunts, Mum, Minnie, and Jean. My Auntie Jean was one of those drinkers when she drank would make you uncomfortable. I remember moments in life with her. Once was when I was about 11 in Oakville, Ontario. I walked into the house with a pair of shorts on. And she said, look at that laddie's legs, Rita. You know, you could have had that fixed on the national service before he came over. I mean, the way they go together like that at the knees, you should have had that straightened out. And then when I turned into high school age, I came home and I said, Mum, I've got this list of things I've got to get. My gym strip. She says, what's that, gyms? I said, it's the stuff you wear when you're playing in the field. Oh, I see. And my Auntie Jean grabs the thing and says, what? Look at this, Rita. Pair of shorts, $2. Would you? And a t-shirt, $1.50. What on earth? And what's this? An athletic support? For you? The likes of you could wear half a walnut shell and an elastic And as a result of that conversation, I never wore shorts again in public until I was 21. And I spent an inordinate amount of time as a young man trying to make my penis grow larger. And for that, I thank her. It didn't work. It was just a good experience, you know. I mean, that thing with the stomach ache, when you got the ears and the arms and the stomach and this and that and all that stuff, then you get 65 and then this muscle stops working altogether. They give you this card in BC, the gold card. And it arrives like me, prematurely. It arrived in April. My birthday's May the 11th. And I'm over in Victoria. A friend drops me off at the ferry at 8:45 at night. And I think, I've got to go and get on. And I rush up, and she said, yes, it's still here, don't worry. And I get my thing with all my cards in it, and I start flicking through looking for my BC Experience card. And she goes, there it is, and grabs the gold card. And this is before my 65th birthday. And I said, no. She said, no, it's all right, sir, it's all right. It's a gold card, it's a senior. I said, yeah, but you don't understand. And she said, no, sir, here's your ticket, here's your senior's ticket. The ferry is that way. And I said, no, but you don't understand. She said, sir, I understand. Please get on the ferry. And I said, okay, and pretended to go the other way. And she said, no, sir, it's that way. And if I could have drooled for her, I would have. Because what was going off in my head was the Driftwood realtor charge fraud BC ferries. How bad is the market that realtors have to sneak on the ferry? I actually went to the Chamber of Commerce, the person that's running, I can't remember her name right now, and told her, if you want to boost business on this island, because off-islanders don't know that when you buy your ticket, you get off for free, right? Coming from Victoria and Crofton. They just go, holy, $40, and we gotta come back. People don't know that. I said they should start an ad campaign which says, come to Salt Spring, where you can get off for free. Now that you're 65, you can get on for free Monday through Thursday. And I was telling somebody about my experience. He said, listen, I'm 66 now. You know what you can do? You can take the ferry from Beaufort to Schwartz to Tawasin, get on the bus, go up to Horseshoe Bay, get on the ferry for free, come over, get the bus, come to Crofton, get on the ferry for free, and then all it's going to cost you is $2 on the local bus. How much fucking time have you got on your It just makes you think, eh? Anyway, so coming back to Scotland as this kid from the Congo, we used to have these races at the beach where the kids would run down a cinder path. And I could do it barefoot because when you're in the Congo, your skin on your feet get this thick. So I was the only barefoot cinder path runner for about 2 months until the soles fell off my feet. My grandfather was the house husband. He was a merchant marine guy. Both grandfathers, one was an engineer in the merchant marine. Grandfather was on the deck. My father was an engineer in the merchant marine. Had we stayed in Scotland, I probably would have ended up in the merchant marine. Or as my mother would say, for him it's either Dartmouth or Dartmoor. I don't know where he's going. Dartmoor is the biggest prison in the southern Ontario. My grandfather, who used to sleep in the kitchen because he was a merchant marine, had a heart attack, couldn't go back to sea. So raised his 3 daughters in this house and worked in the kitchen. And he was the one that taught me about words. And he would tell me these outrageous stories. And my great-grandfather was born in Finland, and his name was Arvid Francis Grotman. My grandfather, born in Scotland, was Francis Arvid Grotman. Then no boys, then me, and I got Arvid Grotman Chalmers. My brother is just James Chalmers. And I thought, how unfair is that? Like when you learn to talk with a name like Arvid, the second thing you learn is how to spell it. Because people can't pronounce it. In grade 11, they can't even read it. Grade 11, my math teacher, I came in a week late, the class was all there. I got a pink slip and he says, was this a warning from the office? And I said, no. Why? He says, well, it says here, avoid Chalmers. So I tell people my great-grandfather was Arvid, my grandfather was Arvid, I'm Arvid. It's Finnish for small penis has been passed. I said at the show one night, the woman came up afterwards and says, I've got a friend by the name of Arvid. I'm going to have to tell him that. I said, you go right ahead. So knowing all of this stuff, the marmalade, I'm sitting in the kitchen with my grandfather, and he says, well, there was this, did I ever tell you the story about the woman up in the Highlands made jam? I said, no, I don't think. Well, this woman lived up in the Highlands, and her grandson would come to visit, and he loved the jam. Get a piece of bread like the heel, toast it, put butter on, and he'd scoop the jam out and just ladle it on. And he loved it, and she loved it, and he loved it. And she said to him, do you want any marmalade? And that's how they keep. And I said, what? He said, do you want any marmalade? Do you not see it? And he held the bottle up, and it says, marmalade. And I said, oh. He says, do you get the joke? I said, aye, I see it, aye. And then I went off and came home and said, I found one. I found one of them words. You know one words? What word? I said, gent lemon. It's in the toilets. Gent lemon. Do you get it? He says, that's great, laddie. That's great. And it sent me on a path with words, right, where I started to read them one way and then read them backwards. Like Subaru spelled backwards is you're a bus. Wonton is not now. So being in the now is it where, you see, I've done all this stuff, this therapy stuff, right? Tons of therapy. I've taken so much therapy in trying to be open and free that now at my age I'm taking courses in blocking and denial. I mean, who would have thought that I would be 65 years of age? And all the guys that I know on the island, when I was a young guy coming here in my 30s, these guys were old men, me. And now they're all 80 and 90. I went to a funeral last week for a dear friend that died. I went to the wrong church. I went to the Anglican downtown, then I drove over to United, nobody there. Then I saw somebody in the street said, where in the hell is St. Mark's Church? I said, oh, I think that's the one up by Vesuvius. God, it just came from there. And I'm racing off, and it's now 12:32, and my friend that's died is 92, but he's always been punctual. And he died a month or so ago, and now they're having a celebration of his life. And I race up there, the stop signs, up. There's not a soul in sight. And I think, he should have drawn a bigger crowd than this. And then I checked my email, and it's in June. So I emailed his son and say, well, Dick's always punctual, be happy to know I arrived 3 weeks early for his funeral. And then I was supposed to be going to Driftwood to meet up with Gail, and I thought, well, now, actually, I was really hungry because I was counting on a good buffet. That's one of the benefits of funerals on Salt Spring, a good buffet. Off I go to Country Grocer, and I run into a friend who I haven't really, seen and waved and haven't chatted with for 20 years. And we're in the line up for coffee, and she looks at me and she said, are you regular? I said, am I regular? She said, no, are you a regular? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, you walked into the line, Dudley said, Americano, and you nodded, you are a regular. I said, oh my God, I thought you were asking me about my body. Like I'm going deaf. I'm arriving 3 weeks ahead at a funeral. That's one thing I've been invited to, surprise funerals, right? Last night was a surprise birthday party, and we thought, well, what about a surprise funeral? What do you walk in though? No, come on. For me? You guys did this for me? Can we try the buffet before I go? Death is happening, like I guarantee you. It didn't come with the price of the ticket, but everybody in this room, gonna die. Gonna die. It's true. You better get used to it, because now is the time to have a good time. You know, AA's doing one day at a time. Alcoholics Unanimous, we're doing one night at a time, right? And you don't have to worry, just have a good time, and if you can't remember it in the morning, I guarantee you someone's going to phone you and tell you just what you did last time. I said to my mom when we came to Canada, I said, did you guys drink like this in Scotland? Of course not. I said, why? It's too expensive. Nobody's got the money for that. Maybe a Mickey, a Hugmanay, but... And so all these Scots are coming over here, getting cheap booze, and drinking themselves into a lovely, lovely place. That's why I decided to quit drinking when I was 23. I swore off booze, tobacco, and drugs. What a shock for my wife. She said, Arv, what do you mean? I said, well, just cut back. I said, I can't. I'm one of those guys that likes what they like. So I'm very comfortable with alcoholics in the room. Very comfortable with this group. You don't have to be an alcoholic to make me comfortable, but if you're an alcoholic and you start acting like an idiot, that's cool. I can handle that. Which is why I like Mexico. I was flying on my way back to here. I went to Panama to visit friends for a couple of weeks. Through Guadalajara. Come into Guadalajara airport at 1 o'clock in the morning. My bags, my flight isn't leaving until 6 a.m. I find a hole in the wall, bar, walk in, look at it. I'll have a Centenario, double shot, and a beer. See? Puts the shot glass up and says, it's 100 pesos. I said, see, pours a shot, I drink it with my beer. Chatter going on in the bar. Order another one. Leaves the shot glass, gets a new one. 200 pesos. Gracias. Finish it. And I say to him, my friend, where I come from in Mexico, for 100 pesos, I get 1.75 liters of tequila. 100% agave. See? Says, where I come from in Mexico, I get 1.75 liters for 100 pesos. I don't drink in these bars. I said, what? He says, I don't drink in these bars. I work in these bars. It's expensive, man. It's expensive. So Mexico is this place where Canadians go down. My buddy Roy came down. He's in his 70s. I said, now what do you think? He said, what it looks like to me is a bunch of 60-year-olds acting like they're 18. And it's true. I mean, they have a party when you come in, they have a party when you go out. Then you get other people coming in, you get another party. It's like you can party day, night, forever. So I built this little unit down here, about 1,000 square foot, 11-foot high walls. None of my friends are that tall. The motif that I take down is the happy, sad face. Somebody give me it as a gift. I take it down, that's going to be the motif. When we're building the 11-foot high wall, I cut a nice little scallop in there. I tell the guy to do it. He does it. I go and get a steel man. I show him these masks, which are like this, but it needs to be the same size as my head. Happy, sad. And so they measure my head. He goes off, comes back with this enlargement, beautiful piece of work. Up it goes. The happy and sad house. Comedy, tragedy. My mother always said to me when I was having a good time and laughing, you're laughing now, but you'll be bleeding later. Which sort of leads you into this thing, I wonder what's going to happen. And when I was doing therapy and doing a mantra thing in one of the therapies, it came to me that laugh now, cry later, laugh now, cry later. If you actually write it out, you get to cry now, later laugh. Cry now, later laugh. So every time you're feeling sad, know that it's going to get better. One hopes. So we're back to where we were. So I play music down there, play harmonica with Mike and Salon. Matter of fact, I wrote a song down there. My buddy James had just died. I was going through a bad time in relationships. And I was in Milan on a rooftop. Lights fading. I can't see what I'm writing anymore. Get my harmonica out. tú no estás aquí, my friend? I motored over to the barra, hoping I'd see you again. Paid 3 pesos 50 centavos. Regresa aquí solo también. The moon in Malacca is the grandest. Karina, my heart feels the same. And I would buy you an air-elastic ticket just to hablar now and then. La luna en Malacca es grande. Cariña, mi corazón también. La luna en Malacca hay vacantes. Porque tú no estás aquí, my friend. I will follow you to Chiapas, Morelia, Oaxaca, and then we would sit on the beach in Yalapa and drink sooner I see you, my friend. And I know you got a great amigo, and I know I've had a few también. But all those compadres before us says you're oro puro, my friend. La luna en Malacca es grande, cariña, mi corazón también. La luna en Malacca hay vacantes, porque tú no estás aquí, my friend. Now I got Robin's verse to add in there, which I haven't done yet. But there's this place that I go called Malacca, where I've had the best of times and the worst of times. And in my little enclave, which we call the Vortex, with its 11-foot high walls, we had some friends over. My friend Wendy, Linda, we're all sitting around and talking on a Sunday afternoon. And Wendy voices up that she feels quite safe walking anywhere in Malacca, any time, day or night. And I said, wait a second, it's not that safe. Like always going to is don't take your passport, don't take all your money. Things are different. I just feel it. And somebody said something. I said, well, Robin just got rolled last night, coming out of a bar at 3 a.m. I'd already gone home. And they just jostled him, got his cell phone, his keys, and his glasses. I woke at 4 a.m. with Robin knocking on the door. So very angry. Robin, young punks. That's what it is. They're just bloody punks. Punks. It can happen anywhere. It can happen anywhere, but it happened right here. And I said, okay, so what'd you lose? Lost the keys to your house, lost my glasses, lost my cell. I said, okay, well, I'm going back to bed. Let's go look for it in the morning. And so we did. I woke up in the morning and said, let's go look. And we walked 3 blocks to where he got tussled up. Nothing in sight. And I said, okay, well, let's go knock on the door, knock on the door. Amigo, problema si, lentes, si, lentes es allá. Here's the glasses. Llaves, aquí. Somebody turned in the key. Nobody turned in the cell phone. I said, okay, 2 out of 3, not bad. Got 2 things back out of 3. Off we go, having a lovely day. Back to my house, the conversation. So, that night, we went out. The next night, that night we all went out. Back in the next morning, I come out of my bedroom. I got a bed in the kitchen area where Robin is. Walk out and say, morning. And I start to make coffee. Robin's lying in his bed and he says, Arvid, you are perfidious. I went to school in Scotland. I know that's not trustworthy. The cheat, the liar. And I said, yeah, you're perfidious. You're no longer my confidant. I said, what happened? He said, yesterday, you told Wendy Beatty that I got rolled outside of Albatross. And I said, yeah. He said, well, I told you not to tell anybody. I do not want to be a victim. And I don't want people telling these stories about Mexicans because you know they're all good people. It's just punks. They're punks. And I said, yeah, but you know what? He says, I don't care. I told you, don't tell anybody. I said, okay, sorry, my bud. You want cream and sugar in this coffee? And he says, yes, I do. And so we made cream and sugar, made us coffee. We're all fine. We've had our peace. Off we go, having a grand day. Mike and Simone and I are playing to the benefit in the next that day night. We go and we play. Robin comes, Wendy comes, Dennis G comes. We're all up there. There's a great dance going on in this big house. We're the band. There's the second band. Robin's having a grand time. Buffets in Mexico are the same as here. By the time the band gets off, the food's gone. So I said, well, we're going back to Malacca. I got to get something to eat. I'm going to taco stand. We decided that's a grand idea. We jump in a taxi off and go to a taco stand. We're a block and a half from my house. Have tacos, beer. Order at 1 in the morning. Wendy and Dennis walk off. Robin and I walk over to the house. Get a six-pack into the house. And Robin says, would you like a tequila and hot milk? I said, what? A tequila and hot warm milk. Warm milk and tequila? I said, no. I'll take the tequila. Grab me a beer while you're up there. Grabs me a beer and a tequila. And we sit down. And he has a shot of tequila. Cheers, Arvi. I have to say, Arvi, this was a lovely night. I had the best time. I danced with 7 different women. I danced with Wendy B.T. Watson. You know, that's what it is. I don't know, you know. What is it about me that I know I like dancing and I like singing, and I don't go out and I don't go to these things. And I said, well, it's, you know, it's just like, how many times are you going to go to a party like that where we play? You know, the band is good. The other band was good. But did you notice when your band got up to play, everybody got up to dance? Oh, I love it. And your harmonica playing, it's getting so good. At that moment, downstairs comes, shut up and sit, money computers. Life changes in less than a second. I'm sitting one side, Robin sitting the other side. 2 guys, one with a gun. The other guy goes and starts grabs Robin's backpack, his other backpack. I digress. Robin was becoming a Canadian citizen, and a Mexican citizen, all at the same time. And all his paperwork were in the 2 bags. And when that happened, he leaped up, and in his British way, said, no. And the 2 muertes, bang! And then they both ran up. I, who can hear because I'm Scottish, understood that shut up, sit, money, computers meant we're losing the money and the computers here. That's what's going on. Robin didn't want to have to deal with the bureaucracy, reapplying for 2 citizenships. That's what I believe. I believe it's no was the start of I want to reason here. Unfortunately, the excitement of the moment, that was not what the gun person wanted to do. The gun person fired. They ran up the stairs. On the table in front of me was a beer and a glass. I threw the beer bottle, and I threw the glass, and they were gone. And Robin walked over to the mirror and said, the bastards hit me. Turned around and collapsed. I phoned the police. They are there in 3 minutes. Ayúdame, ambulancia, dos rateros. Funny how your Spanish becomes killer good. They arrive. They take one look at Robin, open the big doors, they back the truck up, in we go, and off we go, trying to find a hospital that's open. Result is, we don't get there in time. Now in Cihuatlan, with 2 police and another 4, then another 5 arrived. Now we're all going back to my house. We drive back, cavalcade of vehicles. Now I have 11 police in my house. And we're trying to deal with the fact that Robin has just been shot. I phoned my buddy Mike and Simone, says, we'll be right over. She phones our friends Marta, who comes over with her 2 kids, herself, Mike and Simone. It's now 4 a.m. And I start the painful process of phoning. At 4 a.m. our time, it would be 2 a.m. here. My house is littered with police who are Spanish-speaking, Mexicans. My friend Marta says to Simone, it's better for Army to get a translator. I got a buddy. And she phones her buddy Michael, who's lived in California, and he arrives in his Jeep. One-legged man. Leg missing right here. Bobby, there you go. How you doing? Doing pretty good. I said, how'd you lose your leg? Motorcycle, 92. So how come you speak such good English? California, 89 to 2004. You got a problem, my friend. I said, no, I got cops all over. He said, no, he's and I said, what? And he said, well, it's possible they think you do this. I said, did I shot Ron? Okay. Broken glass. And I said, yikes. Well, I didn't, so I don't care. It'll all work out. We have to wait here till 8 o'clock in the morning. Forensics is coming. Great. We wait till 8 o'clock in the morning. Just before, I think it's 6 a.m., one of the policemen, well, a friend didn't make friends with, Luis, he said, no, my friend, I have to go. He's changed. He's changed. New police is coming. My friend, I'm sorry for what happened. This my car. Oficina. Aquí. Mi casa. Celular. Any problem, my friend? Please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this. We hug. Leaves. In comes the news. ¿Qué pasó? Now you have to tell the whole story. It was a tough 4 or 5 hours until somebody comes from forensics, dusts the place for fingerprints, checks this, finds the bullet, finds the cake, cannot find the brass shell. One of the detectives says to me, amigo, how many did you shoot? 1? I said, 1 shot, then we it's possible he's jammed the gun. Because we know they're looking for the casing, we can't find it. I said, I don't think so. I don't think he was shooting at me. I don't think he went click. He just went. And when that happened, everybody ran away. It was terrifying, to say the least. But it changed that fast. The power of no is very powerful. Had I been sitting on the same side of the table, when he stood up to do his no dance, I would have. But I wasn't. And I'm sure that in his darling little heart, that he thought, I can reason my way through this. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Forensics finished. My friend Dave says to me, we go to Cihuatlan, we talk to Ministerio Público, he stops all the police. This is the next time. We do. Off we go. That's where I get my fingers tested for explosives, gunpowder. That's where I'm proved innocent of this. And at that point, back to my house, talking to my kids on the phone, friends phoning. It was just like a really bad move. And in my head, thinking about all the things that had happened, the argument with Robin, I don't want to be a victim. By noon that day, he was a victim all across Canada. And I, who love notoriety and publicity, I'm getting contacted by every news media in the world. Well, in Canada and the States and Mexico. And it's just, you just can't talk. You just can't talk. My buddy Murray says, Art, this is post-traumatic stress. You got to come with me. We have a friend who lives up in Namatsuya. Post-traumatic stress disorder specialist, teaches it in the world sense. And off I go to get my post-traumatic stress disorder dealt with. Flukus Maximus that somebody that good would be that close. Somehow Robin must have put it there for me. In the discussions in the therapy, I think I had 5 sessions. You take the moment, holds a pen up, eye movement back and forth, following the pen, okay, breathe. I don't want to tell you all what it's like because I got it all just in my body. But you tap yourself to realign your left and right sides of the brain. Because when you suffer a severe shock, things sort of get disjointed. In the therapy, out comes the fact that my dad hung himself, and I found it. Now I'm thinking, okay, I'm 64, and I'm dealing with something from when I was 11. It's the same movie. It's the same sudden shock, where somebody falls off the roof and dies. Somebody gets shot. It's good stuff for me. But during the process, around the 4th, therapist said to me, now, I want you to be careful here because you can go to excess. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, sometimes people suffer a shock like this. They drink too much or they're doing drugs. And I said, well, you know I don't drink in Canada. And she says, yeah, I'm aware of that. And I said, well, so I'm sort of drinking to excess down here anyway because I'm making up for Canada. And she said, okay, well, just be watchful of it. Just be watchful of it, all right? She says, the other thing that can happen is, you know, sometimes it becomes sexual and people start screwing their brains out. And I went, I said, okay, so before Robin, I had a sexual dream. You know, so like if you're thinking we're going to start at ground zero and nothing's going to happen, like I don't think this therapy's really cut out for me. She said, well, just be watchful. And I was. I like watching myself being sexual. Usually I'm on my own at the time. But you're now starting to look at things through a different light. You know, you're enjoying the party, but what the hell was that came up there? I was riding my bicycle to Mike and Simone's, and an almond fell out of the tree and scared the dickens out of it. And so you're on edge. I'm on edge sometimes. Things that startle me. I was working on my hands and knees the other day down the waterfront there, and somebody came around the corner and said, hey, Arvin, I haven't seen him coming. Well, it scares the dickens out of me. I'll get past that. I mean, the shock that happened to my friends here on the island, with the CBC and CTV and Jet TV, every major van was on the island. People were giving me feedback, right? Somebody said, oh, I saw some guy on with a beard and a pipe. I don't think he spoke English, but he was saying, Arv, come home. Don't stay in Malachy, come home. And I thought, beard, pipe, doesn't speak. Was that Marv from Art Spring? Yeah, not speaking English sort of threw me for a bit, but I thought, well, the only guy I know smokes a pipe is Marv. And it was Marv. Come home. Well, I came home, Marv. How you doing, my friend? Yeah. So, in all of this, there's this trace of what is it that we do when we come to the no, where we don't realize. And I was very critical of the victim, of Robin. I was thinking, you stupid Englishman, he had a gun. And then I remembered, you stupid Scotsman, he had a gun. What were you doing throwing a glass and a ball at him? Like if my grandfather could speak, he'd say, yeah, but these things happen. But you go into the sort of, I don't know, anger. And I'm fighting bullets with glass. He's fighting bullets with words. Like, what the fuck is wrong with Shut up, sit, money, computers. It's pretty clear. So we got another couple of weeks goes by. Got the Canadian consul, the British consul, the Mexican authorities, they're all on us. Mike and Simone go through terrible times with us. We're all friends. Mike's birthday is tonight. Robin's birthday is tonight. They're celebrating Mike's birthday on the beach at the Boaties right now. We're here celebrating Robin's birthday at Art Spring. The Flukus Maximus of it. And Robin, not here. Mike wakes up this morning thinking of Robin, thinking of me, thinking, what are we going to do? How do we replace this man? There is no chance of replacing him. All he is now is a lovely memory. Wrapped in this sort of tragedy. In my house, my happy, sad house. How much sadder can we get than this? Friends up here are brilliant. Somebody sent down smudging so we could smudge the house. Had to have a friend up in La Manzanilla who's a good witch, and she came down to smudge the house. We smudge it, we clean it, we do everything all the way around. Miranda O'Byrne, I'll say her name. And we clean the house. A week later, I get a phone call from the Ministerio Público. Necessary, we come to your house tonight, 5 o'clock. Okay. Mike and Simone and I have been back to the house since. We go back, open the door, sit down. On the table is half a shot of tequila, which is Robin's half shot that was left over from the shot. And we sit down, and I decide to go out on the street, talk to any can. And up comes a pickup truck, and another pickup truck, and another pickup truck. And it's armed police city. And one of the policemen says to me, we have tools. And I go back in the house, and in comes the Ministerio Público. My buddy Carlos, who speaks English and Spanish, says they're bringing them in. They've caught 2 of 3. They're bringing them in. I said, they're bringing them into my house. He says, Arvids, Mexico. That's what we do. So we sit there, Mike and I. Simone can't take it. She's gone off to the bedroom to hide. The street fills up with people. Dennis G said there was 400 in one block and 400 in the other block, and all these police. I sit at my table, and right behind me is the stairs. The stairs that Lorraine said to me, never build those stairs. I did. I fall. And then I hear shuffling in, chink, 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 chink. Up the stairs, chink, 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 chink. They have this young man manacled, shackled, feet, 5-foot chain over to a policeman, all guns, a cameraman. They're recreating the crime scene. Me in. Up on the roof, how did you get in? Climbed up my friend Alan's roof, got up to here, read their statements. The gun was never meant to be used. It's only to scare the gringos. The detective said, you don't want to use the gun? Don't put bullets. 18-year-old child. Coming down the stairs, I turn to look at him. He bursts into tears. He can't look at me. Has wet his pants. Tragic. Ministerial Público says, okay, now what happens here? I said, I'm sitting here, Robin's sitting there. They come down the stairs. Shut up, sit. Money computers, shut up, sit. Mike has been asked to play Robin. What happened then? Robin gets up. Mike gets up. I said, no, he sort of leaped. Here, I'll do it. And so I leap up and run over to him. No. Cocksucker! I scream at the young man. What else can you say? bring him down. They take him out. I know his grandmother. Took my lovely Robin away from me. Robin loved the Mexicans so much that he was becoming a Mexican citizen. He's right. They're young punks. They're punks. They steal. They do it here in Canada. We had all sorts of things being said about Mexico. It tore my heart apart. I know that it would tear Robin's heart apart. And people canceling their holidays. Luckily, I got strong friends. They all decided, friends booked holidays that weren't coming this year. My daughter Kirsty and my grandson Hector came down, and the community was as though it happened to a tourist here. Our community would be shocked. Their community is shocked. Poor Robin, who didn't want to be a victim, became the biggest victim of the year. Something goes wrong in Mexico, they say his name still. I got more publicity out of the murder scene than I've ever got from doing comedy. Like what? So, I said, my friend who was doing therapy said, you dealt with all this stuff, how can you honor God? I said, I'll do a show. I said, what? I said, I'll do a show. Really? I said, well, it's not the first time. I remember my therapist, William Matfield, saying, you can't do your father's suicide on stage. I said, why not? It happened to me, man. He said, but it's... I said, yeah, but suicides happens everywhere. You can't go to a room without knowing somebody that knows a suicide thing. So maybe I'm in a select group now with, I saw somebody getting shot. People get shot all the time. Stuff that was on the web. My friend Chris Budd goes on to Facebook and said, don't go to Surrey. 2 people were shot in Surrey yesterday. Canadians don't go to Surrey. If you think this is about Mexico, it's not. It's just about the Flukus Maximus, the bad things that can happen to you right now. I'd give up my computers, my camera, I had like $4 grand worth of stuff. It's not an issue. I'm going to regret that I didn't download my photographs or put them into another storage or whatever. But reality is there was nothing there. It couldn't be replaced. Only the tools. And now I'm sitting here on this 68th birthday, drinking water out of a shot glass. Like, how fucked is that? So for those of you who came here thinking you're going to get a great big laugh tonight, well, I'm really sorry we ain't got that far yet. But I thought if I did the show, and I don't know how many people are here, but tell you it from my side, from what I perceive or what I think is Robin's side, because that was the issue. Me having confessed or told that Robin had been rolled, didn't want that out, because he didn't want any of our friends to feel unsafe. And he didn't want to be known as a victim. And he didn't want people thinking badly of Mexican people. The day of, more Mexicans came by my house with their condolences than gringos. He was well known, well liked, loved. To my buddy, Robin, amigo. He has two daughters, one in Wales, one in England. I showed him this trick in Mexico. Cheesies can be used to heat a tent. They can also be used as a candle. At this point, I want you all to join in a chorus of happy birthday to my friend Robin. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Robin. Happy birthday to you. Now remember, make a wish, Englishman.